Yazin, I don't know how to feel about the series, and let me tell you why. Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. Okay, so today I am bringing you guys another review, and as you can see by the title, today's review is on the South African Netflix series Kings of Joburg. Let's get started. Okay, so today, once again, I'm trying not to give you guys spoilers. I'm trying to take a step back from spoiler reviews just because I want you guys to be able to watch my videos, for really, without, being scared that I'm going to spoil something. So I'm really trying to stay clear from that. And so with that said, for real, let's get started. Alright, so let's start with what the series is about. The Masire brothers rule Johannesburg's criminal underworld, but a supernatural family curse and a tangled web of betrayal threaten to destroy them. Okay, so this series contains an all-star cast. Okay, there are so many people in this series. We have Shona and Ferguson, Zolisa, Xaluva, there's so many, SK Koza, Abdul Koza, TK, Musha Samuels, there's so many people. There's so many people in the series, just an all-star cast, just a lot of people. I was like, oh my gosh, you here too? Okay, it's a lot of people, let me say that. So, were they good? Yes, they were good, judging by what they had to work with. If you know these characters, if you know these actors, and you know the characters they usually portray, and you know what they usually bring to the table, they pretty much brought exactly that to the table. We all know that these people definitely do a good job in the characters that they portray, and they did not disappoint with this series as well. Now, however, the series itself was a problem for me, but I'll get back to that. Okay, so to get to the first episode, let me backtrack a little bit to the characters. Okay, so let me tell you the ones whose names I remember, which is basically like Shona Ferguson and Zolisa, because I didn't pay that much attention to the characters' names. However, Shona Ferguson plays Simon, Masire, and Zolisa plays his brother Mo. Okay, and yeah. that's basically the two characters whose names I remember. And so in the first episode, we basically get caught up. They basically give us like a backstory of what has been happening leading up to the moment that the series begins. However, nothing much happens, within the first episode. We get to see Mo being released from jail. He's been in jail for 10 years, and we see him being released, and we see him, make his way from prison all the way back to Mo's house, and they reunite. We get to see his child played by TK, and that is basically just a backstory, a reunion of some sort that happened. And we also see that Mo now doesn't want to be part of this criminal activity underworld situation that landed him in jail in the first place. He wants to start in a clean slate. But is that gonna happen? You can guess. And from the start, you can see that this is a very typical South African series. There's a lot of violence, there's a lot of guns, nothing new brought to the table. It's just a typical South African series. But we also see, because in one of the scenes, we see them, we see a heist taking place, and within all of that happening, we then see that Shona Ferguson's character Simon has some sort of superpower, if you will. That is the curse that we see in the synopsis that they talk about. He has some sort of superpower. We see his eyes turn like a very blue, watery, lizardy, very animal-like color, and we see his teeth turn, I don't even know, is it metal or whatever, but we get to see that he's not quite human, or he's human with some black magic happening, some superpower of some sort. We see that as well, but we don't quite understand what it means, where it comes from, how it operates. Okay, we literally get the answers to that maybe in like the third or fourth episode. The first episode, and actually the series as a whole, is a very slow burner, and I wasn't here for that. I think it started to pick up, the first episode that is started to pick up maybe like 40 minutes into that episode, and that episode was 50 minutes long. The series does contain a 6 episodes, by the way, and they range from 43 minutes to an hour and 5 minutes. So there's different durations to the episodes, but that's, you know, between 43 and an hour and 5 minutes. But despite the first episode being a slow burner, the last episode did leave me feeling some type of way. Okay, there was definitely some sadness, you know, just like, oh my gosh, already? You know, that's how I felt with the first episode at the end. You know, it was definitely kind of sad, I'll say that much. Now for the series, okay? The series as a whole, as I said, is definitely a slow burner. We were halfway into the series and still nothing much had happened. I was still waiting for some action. Nothing didn't happen. Literally, within an episode, there'll be like 2 minutes of like action-packed realness, and then everything else will just be bland. And I really, guys, trust me, I really tried to be fully invested in the series, but I found myself busy on my phone, thinking about life, you know, thinking about what I could be eating right now, you know. Sometimes I was getting sleepy, I was getting drowsy, you know. And honestly, for me, this series, the storyline, is literally, if you live in South Africa, you know these series that I'm talking about, okay? It's literally the same storyline as The Queen, except that Shona Ferguson plays the villain instead of the police officer, and instead of cocaine, they deal with diamonds, kind of like in the river. So it was very typical, something that has been done, nothing new, you know. The only new element that they brought to it was this generational curse thing, if you will, that is brought to the table. And we all see that they have a mermaid, by the way. That's what's giving Shona Ferguson his powers. He has a mermaid. The mermaid is played by Connie Ferguson. And I was just like, honestly, there was no need for that character, because if you were to remove the mermaid from the series, everything would have basically turned out the exact same way, except the last scene of the series. And I did say that the storyline is similar to The Queen, and it also doesn't help the fact that 90% of this cast is the same as the cast from The Queen. And this series is draining. It is so draining that by the time they drop some important bombs, some important, you know, some shock-worthy information, I am so drained that they barely even get a reaction out of me. I'm just like, oh, so that's what's up. Cool. One thing I must say that I don't like about South African Netflix series, movies, whatever, the ones that I have watched, I don't understand why they feel the need to be so vulgar once they hit Netflix. Because South African shows, of course, they'll put an F-bomb here, they'll call you a B, they will, you know, of course there'll be some usage of those words somewhere in the normal, you know, that play on TV, the normal series. But the moment they hit Netflix and this Netflix series and movies, then all of a sudden they're popping off everywhere, and I don't understand. I don't get it. Does it seem cool to them? Does it? Because Blood and Water, Seriously Single, okay, those are the only ones I've watched, and this one, I'm just like, there's no need for them to be so vulgar. You can get your point across without dropping the F-bomb every second word that you say, you know? So now let me talk about the end. Hi guys, no. I'm not gonna spoil though, relax, relax, calm down. No spoiling, okay? But please tell me, why? Ngoba, kutheni? Like, what is the reason that the last 15 minutes are the ones with the most action throughout the entire series? Like, I suffered. You telling me, I suffered for 5.5, actually more than a half, like 5 3/4 episodes, so that the last 15 minutes can be worth my time. I'm alright. No. And then on top of that, they have the decency, the audacity to leave so many loose ends by the end of the series that now we are forced to want a second season. Like, it's not okay that now I must be forced to want a second season so that I can get answers. Because I was like legit in the 5th episode and I told my sister, I'm like, this show should not have a second season, I'm not okay. And then come the 6th episode, by the end, now my entire story has changed because there's so many loose ends. Like, why do that to the masses? Why do that to the masses? Not a single storyline had a resolution. Because now at this point, I don't want a second season. I need a second season because the curiosity within me is screaming because I need answers. Like, I'm not okay. I'm not okay with that. You know, I'm not okay because now that's why it left me feeling some type of way. This is why I don't know how to feel about the series, because I wouldn't say it's amazing. Okay, Ferguson Films have made some really good things in the past. They have had some really good productions. I don't think this one is, you know, up there with those. But now, because of how it ends, I now want a second season. Because now I want answers. And then now I must wait for like another year, maybe, if it gets renewed for a second season. Only because I want answers, because they decided not to give us a single resolved storyline within the series. 6 episodes. Each, you know, between 43 minutes and an hour and 5 minutes, and not a single thing is resolved. So that's how I feel. That's my 2 cents. If y'all liked it, because I did see on Twitter that a lot of people actually liked the series. I'm not one of them, unfortunately, but this is not the first time that has happened, okay, because y'all then came for me because I wasn't a fan of Blood and Water. Y'all came for me in the comments. I then deleted them comments because I wasn't here for it, but y'all came for me. But I must say that's the one thing at least I can say I liked about Blood and Water, that the storyline itself was something different. It wasn't something that had been done in South Africa, just that the execution wasn't that great. Here it's a very typical storyline, very typical South African storyline, with all the violence and the crime and illegal stuff happening. And then on top of that, you know, you add wealth. Okay, because Shona Ferguson's character Simon is very wealthy. I'm talking, he drives a Bentley, kind of rich. Very typical South African stuff happening here. But I don't know how to feel, because now I need a second season, but I wasn't feeling the series, but I want the answers. So you let me know in the comments if you liked this or not, because I am very on the fence, because I didn't like it, but a second season must happen in order for us to get answers, you know. They better not pull a Queen Sono on us and not renew a season 2, because then we won't have answers. But I'll probably get over it after a while, you know what I mean? So on that note, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, switch on post notifications, all that amazing stuff. Until next time, stay put and stay